This is an age-old story. A woman speaks up with concrete evidence of SH and retaliation, and the abuser attempts to turn the tables on the victim. This is what experts call DARVO, deny, attack, reverse, victim, offender. Blake Lively's just going to deny, avoid, ignore. She's going to act like all the things that Justin pointed out that are very valid are just, abuser playbook tactics.
All along, you have secret plans to do something very, very different that's above your pay grade. That's called fraud. When you pretend you want to do the one thing and you'll do the thing they're hiring you for, right? This Justin Baldoni, most people had never even heard of him. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her. By the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement and decided to try to hurt him with petty, made up, out of context complaints when he pushed back even in the mildest way. So she's a serial fraudster. That's called fraud.
She's taking a playbook from the Amber Heard tactics playbook, sadly. They are trying to shift the narrative to Miss Lively by falsely claiming that she seized creative control, and alienated the cast from Mr. Baldoni. The evidence will show that the cast and others had their own negative experiences with Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer. She wanted it. It's her fault. Their justifications for why this happened to her: look what she's wearing. In short, while the victim focuses on the abuse, the abuser focuses on the victim. I've avoided bringing up Amber Heard. I don't like to compare things, but to bring up the DARVO and try to label it a Justin is exactly what Amber Heard did to Johnny Depp. DARVO tactics: when the alleged offender denies the behavior, attacks the accuser, and reverses the role of victim and offender, was not confined to the courts. According to the U.S. academic who coined the term, DARVO has studied the tactics used by alleged predators. Social media was used to undermine Heard's case and bolster Depp's. Gee, I wonder why it was overwhelming. Because she was caught lying.
Justin Baldoni is like, we offered her an intimacy coordinator and she was not okay with it. Then suddenly in her complaints, she's like, there was no intimacy coordinator.
Can you believe what's bubbling up in Hollywood right now? Allegedly, Blake Lively went behind everyone's back to snag the absolute top spot in the upcoming Barbie movie, demanding she be the central figure in a cast that was supposed to celebrate a diverse group of Barbies. And here's the kicker: Margot Robbie wasn't having it at all. After months of hush-hush chatter, she's said to have come out swinging, defending not only the creative integrity of the film, but also Justin Baldoni, who apparently found himself in the middle of Blake's alleged power plays. Rumor has it, the tension got so thick you could slice it with a knife, and entire sections of the script were threatened if Blake didn't get her way. Folks, this is where the story explodes into absolute chaos, so buckle up. First, let's break down how this fiasco supposedly began. According to insider chatter, Margot Robbie, who's been deeply involved in the Barbie project for quite some time, set out with a vision. A movie that showcased not just one leading lady in plastic heels, but an entire lineup of fierce, fabulous, and fun Barbies. Each was meant to represent a different flavor of style, personality, and empowerment. Sort of a kaleidoscope of what the brand could offer to today's audience. Now, in sweeps Blake Lively, who, according to these rumors, didn't quite see it that way. The moment she saw an opportunity for a star-centered role, she allegedly sank her teeth in, pushing for script rewrites that would catapult her character into the prime spotlight. Some sources say she demanded key scenes pivot to revolve around her, practically sidelining everyone else. Margot Robbie, known for her passion for all things creative and for protecting the collective spirit of her projects, reportedly was stunned. Why? Well, from her viewpoint, and from what many fans expected, Barbie would be a celebration of sisterhood, empowerment, and a playful nod to nostalgia. Splitting that sense of unity for a single A-lister's vanity project felt, in Margot's eyes, like an outright betrayal of the film's purpose. If the rumor mill is to be believed, Margot wasted no time in letting people know she wasn't going to roll over. She reminded production heads that the entire premise would implode if it revolved around one name rather than the ensemble. Whether it was in official memos or heated phone calls, Margot reportedly held her ground with unwavering strength. Meanwhile, you've got Justin Baldoni stepping in as a collaborator or creative advisor. Details differ depending on which anonymous source you ask. He's known for championing positive, inclusive storytelling. But allegedly, Blake Lively wasn't on board with his perspective. Insiders claim she tried to bypass him, calling other executives to pitch her star-driven version of the film. Justin, never one to back down from what he believes in, is said to have pushed back gently but firmly. He reminded everyone that Barbie had the potential to be so much bigger than one actress's personal vehicle. That's when Margot jumped to his side, supposedly pulling him aside to assure him she had his back, no matter how forceful Blake's demands got. But hold on, this is only scratching the surface. Word on the street is that tension escalated to a boiling point during meetings where key decisions about costuming and plot arcs were being finalized. Sources allege that Blake showed up with a stack of revisions she wanted made immediately, more lines for her character, bigger musical numbers centered around her, and entire sequences where the other Barbies faded into the background. To add fuel to the fire, rumors say she threatened to walk if her demands weren't met, insinuating that her mere presence would guarantee the film's box office success. Some behind-the-scenes players found it outrageous. Others, particularly younger team members, were left intimidated, unsure how to challenge someone of Blake's stature without jeopardizing their own careers. This is where Margot Robbie's frustration allegedly hit fever pitch. People close to Margot claim she's always valued a tight-knit, respectful set. She's also known for championing ensemble casts rather than letting one performer overshadow everyone else. So when she discovered that Blake was basically trying to rewrite the entire concept of the movie in her favor, Margot is said to have lost it. Not by throwing tantrums, but by standing up in creative meetings and calling out what she viewed as manipulative tactics. The tension, as folks describe, was so thick that even longtime industry vets were left stunned, and it didn't end there. Allegedly, phone records and meeting logs show that late-night calls were made to producers by Blake's team. In these calls, some say threats were made in no uncertain terms. Either pivot the movie to center on Blake Lively's version of Barbie, or she'd walk and take public goodwill with her. A bit dramatic? Absolutely. But according to these rumors, that was exactly the tone that left everyone reeling. Margot apparently rallied the rest of the cast and creative team, emphasizing that the magic of Barbie depended on shining a spotlight on multiple Barbies, each with her own story and flair. If the film turned into Blake's dream house, it would betray the entire premise. You might wonder, where does Justin Baldoni fit into all of this, beyond being a supportive presence? Allegedly, he tried to mediate, believing that collaboration and open dialogue could heal all wounds. Some say he orchestrated a private sit-down, inviting both Blake and Margot to air out their grievances in a civilized manner. But that meeting didn't stay civil for long. If the stories are true, then words like entitled, unreasonable, and manipulative were tossed around like confetti at a New Year's Eve party. Margot, seeing how the conversation spiraled, stepped up to defend Justin, telling him that he didn't deserve to be strong-armed for refusing to cave to star egos. The rumor mill suggests that's when things got personal, with Blake allegedly accusing Margot of trying to sabotage her career. And hey, let's not forget that Blake Lively is married to Ryan Reynolds, a heavy hitter in Hollywood and a name that can open doors. Some folks wonder if he's chiming in behind the scenes, encouraging her to fight for what she's worth. Others claim he's downright embarrassed by the drama and is quietly nudging her to let it go. Either way, it's likely he's got an opinion about his wife being painted as an alleged behind-the-scenes tyrant. The question is, does his influence make it harder for the rest of the team to push back without stepping on the toes of yet another A-lister? The possibilities are endless. Meanwhile, celebrities known to be close to Blake, from co-stars in previous projects to stylists who have whispered about her rumored bossy demands, are reportedly weighing in. Some are rolling their eyes, muttering that this is typical behavior. Others are rushing to her defense, claiming she's being scapegoated for wanting a bigger role in a production that's already loaded with star power. But from the vantage point of Margot's camp, this is no mere scuffle. It's a fundamental clash of creative vision. And rumor has it, Margot is done playing nice. To ramp up the speculation, there's talk of so-called leaked recordings, stealthily taped phone calls, and scandalous messages popping up in group chats. One especially salacious rumor describes a voice memo in which Blake allegedly rails against the entire diversity angle, claiming it dilutes her star wattage. If that's true, it's an unbelievably damning piece of gossip, though we can't confirm a shred of it, obviously. Still, the idea alone is enough to have Hollywood's rumor mill spinning at top speed. People are outraged at the possibility that anyone might disparage the film's inclusive ensemble-driven approach. Whether or not these allegations hold water, it's the kind of story that sets social media on fire. All the while, Margot Robbie is riding high off her own career successes. Fans champion her as both a lead actress and a savvy producer who deeply respects the collaborative process. She's been tied to award-winning projects, and her name carries significant weight. If There's a showdown. It's no longer a David and Goliath scenario. This is two titans of the entertainment world duking it out, and the collateral damage could be massive, especially if the public starts picking sides en masse. Already you can find rumor-based chatter on Reddit, Twitter, and countless fan forums. Some folks are firmly Team Margot, praising her for standing her ground against star entitlement. Others are Team Blake, saying she's earned the right to have top billing on a film of this magnitude, especially given her own track record of successful projects. It's impossible to ignore that this entire fiasco also loops in the notion of female power dynamics in Hollywood. Both Blake Lively and Margot Robbie are trailblazers in their own way, navigating an industry historically dominated by male stars. Some observers find it saddening that two prominent women might be clashing, especially over something as big and culturally relevant as Barbie. Then again, maybe it's just par for the course in an arena where big names wrestle for bigger slices of the spotlight. The question remains, did Blake Lively really try to hijack the production for her own gain, or is Margot Robbie exaggerating the so-called meltdown to keep the film's original focus? Allegedly, at least one executive on the project has threatened to walk if the atmosphere doesn't improve. Rumors swirl that investors are spooked by the possibility of negative headlines overshadowing the film's release, especially if fans get wind of catty, behind-the-scenes feuds among the principal stars. Of course, the rest of the cast is caught in the middle. Most of them just want to do their job, say their lines, and hopefully become part of a blockbuster hit. But it's tough to enjoy that fantasy when tension sizzles with every call sheet update. It's whispered that some of the supporting actresses have quietly taken Margot's side, appreciating her desire for equality and a sense of communal spirit. Yet others, possibly hoping for greater career exposure themselves, might see Blake's star-first approach as an opportunity. Maybe if Blake's leading role gets expanded, they'll be able to snag a cameo in her scenes, riding her coattails to more screen time. The alliances, from what we hear, shift day by day, leaving an air of distrust thick enough to taste. And let's circle back to Justin Baldoni for a moment. He's often celebrated for his empathetic approach and willingness to tackle tough subjects in film and television. For him to stand in the crosshairs of a rumored meltdown is telling. Allegedly, he's tried to compromise, but even he might be at his wit's end if we trust the speculation. Some claim he's called out Blake's unstoppable push for star status as anti-collaborative, which is about as harsh as you'll ever hear from Baldoni, who typically keeps it cordial. Margot's unwavering defense of him, meanwhile, cements the idea that it's not just personal drama, it's a high-stakes battle over the film's heart and soul. Without Justin's creativity and Margot's production savvy, many fans believe Barbie could devolve into just another soulless Hollywood flick, focusing on a single name at the expense of the entire cast. At the same time, let's not pretend Blake Lively is new to show business. She's been around the block. She knows how to make things happen. She might have fans who point out that her star power is a massive draw. Maybe her approach is purely driven by business sense. After all, a big name can secure more funding, broader marketing, and a guaranteed audience. Could it be that Margot's passion for ensemble work and that all-for-one mentality clashes with the more traditional model of star-driven marketing? Possibly. However, that doesn't explain the accounts of meltdown moments late night, calls, or attempts at strong-arming producers into big changes. Diva accusations are thrown at female stars all too easily, but in this case, the rumor mill is swirling at hurricane force. Allegedly, a top-level executive from the studio behind Barbie has tried to coordinate a final peace summit to salvage the production's momentum. As the story goes, Margot wants contractual assurances that the ensemble approach won't be jeopardized, while Blake still wants a guarantee her character's role expands. In the middle, Justin stands with a script that's being tugged apart by conflicting visions. Skeptics are raising eyebrows, wondering if the final film, if it ever hits theaters in the form originally intended, will be overshadowed by this behind-the-scenes mayhem. Or maybe that's precisely the plan, a publicity bonanza fueled by star feuding that ensures everyone's talking about Barbie months before it premieres. Crazier things have happened in Hollywood, and that's not the only shocker. Some gossip columns claim there might be cameo appearances by other big-name celebrities, ranging from pop stars to comedians, all eagerly anticipating a slice of the Barbie phenomenon. The question is, will they be roped into the drama, or will they choose sides if the tension continues to escalate? Nobody wants to show up for a cameo only to be overshadowed by endless conflict. Allegedly, a few cameo deals are already in jeopardy because the rumored negativity on set is driving some folks away. If that's true, The damage to the movie's star-studded potential is already happening. In the end, one can only shake their head in disbelief at the alleged behind-the-scenes chaos. Could we be witnessing the unraveling of Blake Lively's polished persona? Or is this just another exaggerated rumor spree that'll blow over in a matter of weeks? Regardless, the damage might already be done. Fans are talking, insiders are spilling secrets, and the press is feasting on every morsel. With each new leak, the possibility of a peaceful resolution seems further away. If nothing else, this scandalous saga has ensured that Barbie will be one of the most talked about movies in recent memory, and not necessarily for the reasons the filmmakers intended. And that, my friends, is where things stand. Margot Robbie is allegedly blasting Blake Lively for trying to seize total control of the Barbie narrative, while also bolstering Justin Baldoni's stance against star-induced turmoil. The rumor mill roars on, unstoppable, showering us. With glimpses of confrontation, secret phone calls, and meltdown moments. Will it all come to a head in a massive Hollywood showdown, or will cooler heads prevail before the cameras roll on the final cut? Stay tuned, because if the speculation is even half true, we're in for one wild ride.